This is Kathy Biehl of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with Astro-Insight for the week of January 23rd, 2023. Happy New Year! I'm not just talking about the Chinese Lunar New Year, which starts with the Aquarius new moon of January 21st, but the energetic new year that we are now getting to enjoy. As the week goes on, you will feel more and more maneuvering room, flexibility, and ability to start pushing your life forward. Situations that have been swirling in an eddy or a whirlpool or on a fence are ever so noticeably inching forward and in some cases lurching forward. As of this week, we are in 3 solid months without any planet being retrograde. This is all systems go. This is we are cleared for takeoff. This is, are you going to take what you've learned in the past few weeks and do something with it? You might have the tendency to go overboard this week. You may be watching other people going overboard this week. You may be like a little kid who's had a really wonderful adventure, but nobody to talk to about it, and comes home and sees his favorite relative and just cannot shut up with tales of all of the adventure that has been pent up inside of him. Moods are likely to be high and optimistic as the week starts. The sun is moving into an opportunity aspect or a sextile with Jupiter, the guy that whispers in your ear, go for more, why not have more? This is exact on the 24th and increases our desire for breathing room, for trying things that are new, boldly new, wildly new, extravagantly new, daringly new. For each of us individually, the definition may be quite different for someone else. And since the sun is in the friendship zone of Aquarius, this promises to increase contacts with our friend groups and to bring breathing room and friendship qualities into our closest relationships. Don't confuse this with trivial, because our social mode is undergoing a shift this week with love goddess Venus making an uncomfortable aspect with Pluto, the lord of the deep stuff, secrets, power games, that encourages leveling up the quality of our connections and bringing them more in alignment with our values. Some unwelcome truths may come up, but it is worth facing them and making a different arrangement with them, because that will lighten your load and make it all the easier to dance and float and dream when Venus moves into Pisces on the 25th for close to a 1-month stay. This is the territory of mystics and dreamers and poets and people who twirl around in capes like Stevie Nicks. It's where love goddess Venus is at her absolute best, delighting in how we are all connected to each other, to something far greater than ourselves, to compassion, love, magic, mysticism, poetry, art. In Pisces, she makes it possible for us to see people in their highest possible light. She brings softness and gentleness, romanticism and fantasy to our interactions. It's as if we're in our own personal lands of make-believe, imposed on top of what ordinarily passes for reality. We don't get to get lost in trance dancing, however, because the weekend has an activity that pretty much makes up for the slowness of the first 2 or 3 weeks of this year. It's a buzz with all kinds of communications and conversations and activities, especially with friends, pushing your own agenda forward, pushing yourself forward, moving ahead drastically, noticeably, quickly on matters that have been brewing and revamping and requiring rethinking from earlier in the month, from the period since Halloween, from late last summer even, as the sun trines the action hero of the sky, Mars, finally moving ahead on the 29th. The flurry of mental activity, of talking, of scrolling through social media and picking up tidbits like crazy, of sending your own messages out. All of that occurs in a lightning field. All of that precipitates eureka moments. All of that responds to and grows from and proceeds from eureka moments, sudden tilts in perspective, surprising information, shocking news, and wacky but genius approaches that come from Mercury trining change agent Uranus. Both of these planets rule the mind. Mercury, sort of normal, mortal, everyday, and Uranus is kind of like higher mind. Think of him as the lightning rod that harnesses flashes of insight, flashes of inspiration. You will see wildly different ways of going about things. You will get insight in an instant into all of these Mercury and Mars retrograde issues that have been floating through your life, ideas, concepts, problems, conundrums that have been rolling around in the back of your mind and maybe actually in the forefront of your thoughts, will have sudden breakthroughs like somebody flipped a switch. Your thinking on all kinds of matters could change in an instant, and the impact will be to free you and make it all the easier for your mind to scurry forward, and then your life follows. You know what they say, change your thinking, change your life. And if some of these blasts involve radically restructuring situations in your life, particularly friendships or connections, Venus in Pisces will help soften whatever happens and make it gentle and compassionate, and if nothing else, a great story. Homing thought of the week. It's showtime. Song of the week. Oh, I got a bunch of them. Get Together by Jesse Colin Young. Magic by the late Olivia Newton-John. And Mermaid a Go-Go by the Neptunas. And speaking of mermaids, the image of the week is a mermaid lounging on rocks in a lightning storm. Oh, and what's this? A second image of the week. The blindfold coming loose on the figure in the Eight of Swords in the tarot, and her wiggling her arms free of the ties that have bound them. Lots of resources to direct you to this week. You'll find a video about the Chinese Year of the Water Rabbit on my YouTube channel, The Professional Aquarian, and lots about the powerful Aquarius new moon in my forecast at my site, empowermentunlimited.net, where you can sign up for my mailing list and book a session with me. I'm Kathy Biehl, a professional astrologer with more than 30 years' experience. I host the show Celestial Compass on Om Times Radio on the first and third Monday of every month at 5 p.m. Eastern. I also host lively conversation on Facebook at Empowerment Unlimited and the group the Astro-Insight Lounge, which has lots of posts about how current astrology is playing out in the news lately, unfortunately involving the departures of lots of beloved musicians. I also have lots of bonus content at patreon.com/Kathy Biehl, and I'm really grateful to the people who support my work there. I'm on Instagram at K.A. Biehl, and on YouTube at the Professional Aquarian channel. Talk to you next week.